Earlier today, President Trump signed an executive order aimed at dismantling the Department of Education. Tyrone Bowman live. Welcome to the conversation. Welcome to the program. Let's talk about it. According to USA Today, President Donald Trump ordered his administration on Thursday to dismantle the Department of Education, looking to achieve a top campaign promise, although the White House acknowledged the agency can't and won't entirely be dissolved. Flanked by more than a dozen students seated at school desks, Trump signed the long anticipated executive order at a ceremony in the White House's East Room attended by several Republican governors and state education commissioners. Trump said he'd get rid of the department once and for all. We're going to eliminate it, and everybody knows it's right, the president said. Trump directed his education secretary, Linda McMahon, the wife of Vince McMahon. You all need to know who these players are. The billionaire wife of the billionaire former owner of the World Wrestling Entertainment. So he ordered Linda to take all necessary steps to facilitate the closure of the Department of Education and return education authority to the states. According to a White House summary of the order, which has been in the works for weeks. However, the order's imminent impact is unclear since only Congress can eliminate a federal agency. Although the federal government does not set school curriculum, that's long been the purview of states and local school districts. Quote, the Democrats know it's right, and I hope they're going to be voting for it because ultimately it may come before them, close quote, Trump told the crowd assembled before the signing. Listen up, Democrats, you better heed this warning. Do not be foolish enough to go along with what this administration wants you all to do. Take a firm stand, dig your heels in, get your act together. The midterm elections are coming up next year. And before you know it, this year will be over and we're heading into the midterm. Fight for your constituencies, fight for your principles, stop being cowards. Make a difference. For once, make a difference. Because when you go along with things that you know that are not right, you're going to pay the price for it at the polls. So why not just take a stand and do what is right to begin with? Before the ceremony, White House Press Secretary Caroline Levitt told reporters, or Levitt, whatever her name is, the Education Department created by Congress in 1979 during the Carter administration would not be abolished under Trump's order, but would ultimately become much smaller than it is today, and she's lying. I believe nothing that woman says. The order simultaneously calls for the department to close and maintain an uninterrupted delivery of services, programs, and benefits on which Americans rely. Levitt said federal Title I and funding for students with disabilities, as well as Pell Grants and loans that help students pay for college, would still be administered by the department. Programs and activities receiving any remaining Department of Education funds also won't be permitted to promote diversity, equity, and inclusion or gender ideology, the White House said. Let me deal with this thing called DEI. So you all have to understand exactly what this means. Meaning anybody in education who teaches anything about Black history, Black people, slavery, anybody who dares to open their mouth and go against the status quo administration's policies, they want these people to suffer. Of course, the MAGAites, they can't stand me to just be plain and talk plain, but it's okay for them to say whatever they want to say when they want to say it. But a Black man like me, who's going to be unapologetic and bold with it, y'all can't take that when you come on this channel. Then go someplace else. I didn't ask you to come over here. You came over here on your own. Go over there to MAGA World. Go to Fox. Go to all the other white extremist platforms where all y'all together can spew your vitriol, your hatred, your bitterness. And the majority of you are anti-Semitic. Yes, you all are. You hate the Jewish people and you hate the Jewish culture. That's the reason why you align yourselves with Donald Trump to begin with. So if you don't like what this Black man has to say, then don't come over here. I'm not going to beg you to come over here, and I'm not going to beg you to stay. I'll get more subscribers. This channel will continue to grow. I'm talking to those who want to hear the unpure truth. So that's what diversity, equity, and inclusion means. And let me just say this for the record. In the Republican Party, you got a ton of homosexuals and lesbians, and many of them are in power. And the reason why they don't speak out against anything that the administration is doing, because they're afraid that their sexual proclivities will be revealed before the whole world, which you're scared of. If you're living your life the way you want to live it, why are you trying to hide and deny that it's not so? Trump's directive comes after the Education Department sent more than 1,300 employees termination notices last week as part of large-scale reductions in force across the federal government led by the administration's Department of Government Efficiency and under the guidance of billionaire tech entrepreneur Elon Musk. Republicans, y'all are in trouble. You all are going to lose the midterms, and you're going to lose the 2028 election. And you're going to lose it big. Because anybody who they put on the Republican ticket, they're going to be attacked viciously by the Democrats. They're going to be attacked viciously by people who have become victims of the suffrage of this administration. And this is no joke here. And even the people who voted for him are suffering. Gasoline prices are still out of control. Food prices are still out of control. Utilities are still out of control. People can barely pay their bills. Houses are being foreclosed on. And how about the money-grabbing, greedy billionaires who own insurance companies and who are individuals who are CEOs of healthcare agencies trying to find ways to make sure people can't get the help that they need? And when somebody stands up and talks about this, then they have a problem. Then talk about it anyway. Let them complain. Because these people are totally oblivious to the suffrage that's going on around the country. Between cuts and voluntary buyouts, the Trump administration has trimmed the department's workforce in half from more than 4,000 employees to roughly 2,000 workers since the start of the president's second term. Republicans have long accused the federal government of having too much influence over local and state education policy. Trump told reporters last month that he hoped McMahon would put herself out of a job. McMahon is not going to be put out of a job. McMahon is just as ruthless and corrupt as her husband is. Just because she's a woman, don't think that she can't be corrupt. You can look at her and tell. She's just as corrupt and evil as McMahon is. Education Department layoffs by the numbers. So which staff were ousted? Where the cuts hit hardest? Trump and other Republicans have often relied on data from the Education Department's research arm, a branch the administration has reduced to a skeleton staff. This has raised questions about how officials will track down school progress after Trump's updates to the department. Trump's order sets up a new test for the bounds of presidential authority, after a federal district judge in Maryland this week blocked his administration's efforts to shut down the U.S. Agency for International Development. Congressional Democrats blasted what they characterized as a blatantly illegal move by Trump. And teachers' unions vowed to sue to block the administration from winding down the department. I'll tell you one way that policy will change. Every teacher in America needs to boycott and go out on a strike and don't show up for work. Just refuse to show up. I'll bet you the policy will be reversed. Because when pressure is put on those who are in power and they make their living and they love money, they love materialism, they love everything that goes along with it, when it starts hurting them where stockholders' investments and their returns and their dividends come in, policy changes. Randy Weingarten, president of the American Federation of Teachers, responded succinctly to Trump's plan to sign the order. See you in court. She said in a statement Wednesday. U.S. Senator Patty Murray, a Democrat from Washington, a top funding appropriator, said in a statement that Trump was taking a wrecking ball to the agency despite knowing perfectly well he can't abolish the Department of Education without Congress. But he understands that if you fire all the staff and smash it to pieces, you might get a similar devastating result, she said. Advocates from student loan borrowers issued similar critiques. Let's be clear. There's no executive order the president can sign to illegally eliminate the Department of Education, said Aaron Ament, president of the National Student Legal Defense Network. Linda McMahon acknowledged that herself, the real effect of this decree will just be even more hardship and confusion for students and families. And that is true. And remember this. Billionaires, not all, but the vast majority of them, they don't care anything about anybody. It's called greed. You all need to watch that program, American Greed, because it's real. American greed is real. The more people get, the more they want. You know, the more that people get, the more they want. You all better keep your eyes and your minds on what is important. And you can all sing and dance in the streets all you want to pretend like everything is all right. But when it starts hitting your family, and when poverty starts knocking at your door, when poverty starts coming to your neighbors, when poverty starts coming in the way of, we don't need you here anymore at this company, and we're downsizing. These are the slogans that they use. We're going in a different direction. Basically means you're fired. Get out. Pack your little box up from your cubicle and don't come back. That's exactly what that means. It means that we're not concerned about you or your family. And do not be foolish enough to become slaves to corporate America. How many people have put their blood, sweat, and tears, their heart and soul, taken away time from their family and their friends and all the activities, spend 10, 20, 30, and 40 years, sometimes 50 years, only to be told you're fired. Because we want to efficiently move into the 21st century. And you know what they're going to have doing your job? A robot. Never surrender. Never quit. Kindly subscribe to, if you like the channel, subscribe to Tyrone Bowman Live. See you in the next video.